I like to get shit-faced.
I got over my clinical depression. Cats brought it right back.
Dude, like, what even, dude? Come on, what even is that?
Like, I get it. We live in a world where we have to turn everything into a movie, and you know we got to make money somehow. But why with this? Okay, I'm gonna pretend that this video isn't coming out a year after the movie did, and that Lindsay, Ellis, and everybody else on YouTube didn't already do really comprehensive videos on this movie. But I have to talk about it. I need to release my demons. All right. I guess we have to go back to when this all started. Cats is a bad musical. No one got it, not even when it was first being written. But Broadway does bad sometimes. And by sometimes, I mean like a lot.
Let's get your freak on!
But Andrew Lloyd Webber, you know, he wrote a couple good musicals. He wrote The Phantom Show, Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Jesus Christ Superstar. You know, just let him do whatever he wants. Phantom prints money. And it's about a dude with a fucked up face who really likes that one girl, and he's kind of an incel, but whatever, dude, let's write a 3-hour musical about it. But Andrew Lloyd Webber wanted to make a musical about cats, and nobody said no because he's Andrew Lloyd Webber. And that's the exact same logic that gave us episode 1, The Phantom Menace. But that's a different video for a different time. And no, it's not good. It's really weird, and the music's really campy, and it's about a bunch of cats who want to die. Same, dude. But here's the thing. It did well. It's based on a poem by T.S. Eliot. Lit. Cats the Musical is interesting, as in it's basically a passion project by Andrew Lloyd Webber that he pumped a lot of his own money into. It was definitely an uphill battle to get the show made, and a lot of directors turned it down. Well, because
It's about cats.
Okay, so quick musical theater lesson. Every major musical has the big ballad in it, thrown in there somewhere. It's the big one that wins Tonys, sometimes it wins Grammys. It's a beautiful thing. Les Mis has On My Own, Phantom has Music of the Night, Catch Me If You Can has Fly Fly Away, Avenue Q has Fine Fine Line, and Scarlet Pimpernel has It's Only Love.
Scarlet Pimpernel is a show about pirates who dress up as chicks. Is lit.
You get the idea. That big emotional ballad that makes the audience fall in love with whoever's singing it. Entire musicals could be sold off of one track. Hell, Pasek and Paul wrote an entire musical that's just sad songs for sad boys. Cats is weird though, because it made it all the way through previews without having one. And then Andrew Lloyd Webber was like, wait, I have a melody that I wrote like years ago, BRB, and now we have memories. What are you remembering, old singing cat? Is it days of youth? A theater industry of old? The Second Impact? Okay, it's the only anime reference, I promise. And by some miracle, it did well in London. And then it came to Broadway, and it did well with kids and people who don't give a shit about theater. Hey, I mean, it was bright, colorful, energetic. It had no big names, so replacing cast members wasn't an issue. It literally has no plot, so even if you don't speak English, it appeals to you too. For what it was a fun romp, for lack of a better word. I mean, it laid the groundwork for stuff like this.
To unite all peoples within our nation. To unite peoples, truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above.
Yes, that is Andrew Reynolds from Book of Mormon in a Pokemon musical. He plays Jesse.
That's probably pretty.
Well, every character you play
has a
little bit of you. So
This just happens to have a lot of
us
in it, I think.
yeah.
And while, yes, admittedly, while it is a show about just cats, it has some really creative costume and artistic design. Like all the props were designed to be like pieces of trash that the cats found to tell their story, and it's cute. The musical is very sexual. There's a lot of like touching. And for a while, in the mid-90s, it was shopped around for a film treatment, and Steven Spielberg and the dudes who made Balto were cooking up some really cool designs for an animated musical. But unfortunately, the studio that produced Balto was shut down in '97, and so was the idea for a Cats movie. Instead, the show was recorded in 1997, and it has some After Effects lightning in it. And for a while, it seemed like Cats was going to be exclusively a stage show. A weirdly sexual children's stage show. So while it's still a train wreck, it's admittedly a fun train wreck. And to be honest, as an actor, it looks like a really fun show to be in. Although, let's face it, theater kids will do anything. So why are none of the fun things in the movie? Tom Hooper, where are my gay cats? I mean, they had Taylor Swift literally rush out a song with the intent of winning an award.
Who has the most convincing meow of the group?
What the hell is even that?
What baffles me is that at one point, the industry thought this was actually going to win awards. These A-list actors, the director, f***ing Universal Studios, all at once had an inkling that the show about fucking cats was going to win awards like Les Miserables did, which, don't worry, we'll get to that disaster soon. I mean, Tom Hooper directed it, and Anne Hathaway won the award for doing the thing while crying a lot, so clearly, Tom Hooper's all you need, right? God, I can't do this. I actually take shots for this show. Not for you. For me. Musicals inherently require you to suspend your disbelief. Forcing realism into a piece that wasn't designed for it doesn't work. Even Producers, which is literally one-to-one the stage musical adapted for film, doesn't really work all that well because you can't just take something designed for the stage with a live audience and shove it into film. But here's the thing, it has been done before. You either go the route of shows like Hairspray, the one where John Travolta's the mom, I don't remember, dude, and just say fuck it and you stop caring about realism and you just like go full send, or you adapt it. Cabaret is a great example of how to change your musical so it works for a more realistic environment. The performances are real performances that take place within the world of the film. I get it now, it makes sense. It's like a real cabaret. Chicago is another example that pulls a 180 and shows that the musical numbers aren't taking place in the film's reality. You don't have to like Chicago or Cabaret, but at the end of the day, those are at least products that make sense. Audio diegesis is a fun term to play with if you're an artsy, nerdy boy like me, but I'm not gonna get into that in this video because we'd be here all day. Lindsay Ellis does an amazing breakdown of this on her YouTube channel. You've probably seen it by now. If you haven't, why are you watching me? You watch her, dude. She's so good, and all I do is get drunk and cry over cats. Les Mis, for example, doesn't really work as a movie because it was designed to be an opera, basically. Which I know technically it's not an opera, it's an operetta, but my point is it's a show that's designed to be performed to the back of the house. You have to tell your story to the people in the nosebleed seats that are hundreds of feet away from you. When you make it a movie, it just becomes...
Why are you yelling at me?
But we live in a society where Les Mis did win awards. I don't know why. Film politics are an interesting place. But the bottom line is, the Broadway adaptation with the A-list celebrity won awards. So in theory, you take the award-winning director and the award-winning musical and the A-list celebrities and you put them together and you make the money. Although at some point, Universal had a sudden lapse of sanity and realized, oh maybe we shouldn't be dumping so much money into Cats the Musical, the movie, and at the 11th hour cut the post-production budget, which was already made difficult by the fact that Hooper didn't want his actor to be encumbered by motion capture suits. Although I don't know, man, that looks like a mocap suit to me, which means all of the fur and cat anatomy had to be hand animated. This is the only movie I've ever seen that needed a day one patch, like a Bethesda game. I'd like to give this film some credit. Jennifer Hudson singing Memory goes hard, and honestly, She could have just filmed herself singing a cover of the song in her room with cat ears, and Universal could have sold that to me, and I would have bought it. I'd like to think Universal knew how this monstrosity would have made the internet react. And in turn, they would have made a hit, a cult hit, like The Room, or like Rocky Horror's Picture Show. I mean, hell, look at the backlash the Sonic movie got. That got enough attention. Whoa! Ew! What the fuck? I mean, yes, they fixed it after the internet bullied them, and it did pretty well. But honestly, I think that's giving Universal too much credit. Just seeing a lot of the publicity around this movie when it was released, Universal really thought this movie was gonna win awards. They really thought this was a good idea, and that makes me lose hope. Yeah, second impact? Sure, let's do it, dude. So what does this mean? Why am I getting so salty over this one dumb musical movie that came out over a year ago? Because there's a silver lining. It doesn't matter that Les Mis misses the point of a live performance by shoehorning in a live performance into a pre-recorded movie. I honestly hope that this is a lesson for Hollywood. For the love of God, please stop taking live musicals and turning them into Oscar bait. Musical theater does not need the legitimacy of film to make it worth watching. And I think to elaborate on that last point, if there's any silver lining to these movies, it's that they at least bring theater into a more public conscience. And in the case of Les Mis, at least, they did a great job at incorporating a lot of the cast from the original London tours and even the stuff you would see on Broadway. So that is something to be praised. Theater is very unique in the sense that it's an experience that you can only really get while being in the same room. Even watching a recording of a show or even listening to the cast album isn't the same as being in the same room. And while there's definitely a case to be made that these movies may be detrimental in getting people to go see theater, if it makes more people aware that there is live musical theater that is worth seeing, then I think that's a good thing. And if you've never seen an actual live musical, go watch one, nerd. I promise, they're more fun than you think, as long as they're good, and not Shrek the musical. God, I hate Shrek. And another lesson. Just because you have all the right ingredients doesn't mean a rushed dish will be good. Call me the drunk Gordon Ramsay. No one calls me that. I call myself that because it makes me feel better about my decisions. God, I'm not sober, dude. You know what happens when you rush things? This. This is what happens when you rush things. You like this? You want this in a movie? That's what I thought. But the sad thing is, there are people who, to this day, defend this game. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe in time we'll see people defending Cats. Maybe one day Cats will be one of those midnight screenings like The Room or Rocky Horror. You know what? On second thought, maybe this isn't the movie to go see under the influence with your friends. You'll die. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on the Cats movie if you've seen it? And even if you haven't seen it, what was your thought to the initial backlash that that movie got? Tell me what your favorite musical is. I want Cats out of my life. Just tell me what your favorite musical is. Or tell me why you're not interested in musicals. I'd love to hear from you. So as always, leave your comments down below, or you can hit us up on our subreddit where we talk about everything from the music industry to anime titties. It's great.